new 2-year deal for you, Tommy. How pleased are you to get that sorted?
Delighted. Yeah, it's obviously been something we spoke about throughout the summer, and just over today, come down here and get it done today with everyone here. It's been brilliant.
You're pleased to you've got your future sorted over the next couple of years.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, obviously, 33, I wanted to make sure that when I returned last year, that I was going somewhere I could spend, the latter part of my career. And obviously, we didn't have a good season in all aspects with the relegation. But there's still a lot of lessons that we've obviously learned from the season. And the 6 weeks that have passed, it's probably been a good reflection time for myself. And now obviously I can get used to the start of pre-season, which we return back in a week's time, and make a fresh start with it.
It's a big statement from yourself. Obviously, you mentioned last season, not a great season, but you're confident that brighter times are ahead.
Yeah, I think obviously initially coming back, I was confident then. You look back at the season before when I was there, and it was a fantastic season for large parts of it. But I came into the team, to the club, with my eyes closed in terms of what was to expect, and now I've been part of something for a full season. I've seen everything going on. I've been part of that, best part of 50 games. And you use the summer, particularly after a bad season, you use them summers to reflect honesty. And for me, it's been a way of saying how I can come back to this season and help the team, and now my sort of future is secure for the next couple of seasons. I can really go in and help the lads.
You obviously, when you first arrived at the club on a permanent basis, that original spell were similar sort of circumstances. The drop into League Two, and obviously back then you saw the potential for the club to kick on again. Do you see that again this time around, that this can be a launch pad?
Definitely. I think obviously with things like that, they're layered differently in terms of that time. We there was huge changes around the club in terms of personnel. There was quite a large amount of players coming in new, so that always takes a lot of time to adapt. And as we felt from last year, we didn't have a settled changing room from the beginning to the end. Really, we had a lot of players that were playing who were young, and then a lot of experienced players who were injured, and that balance was always off. This season we'll have more of a balance. Obviously, we've got to hope that the lads come back fully fit and everyone's looked after themselves, as you expect from this level. You're going to get players that come back fit, and if we get that, and we've got a good group that are together with the same goal and the same why, which for me has changed. When you go through a bad season like we did, you have to come out with a reason why for the next season, and it stays with you. It stays with you for 5-6 weeks. So with that in mind, you'd like to think that that's going to be the driving force for pre-season. So it makes the manager and the assistant manager's job a lot easier when you've got hungry players coming back. We've got something to prove, and we should have a squad full of that.
I would say, how do you assess the squad? Obviously, as you said, still quite a lot of numbers in from last season. How do you think the squad's shaping up for the challenge ahead this season?
I know what was in the squad in terms of last season, that obviously players that didn't actually take part as much as they could because of injuries. It always happens, but with a fresh start and a fresh approach, which is no reason why you're delighted to be here. You've got the change in the structure of the club, which it doesn't only change the players' perspective, it changes how the season can go from 2 to 3 years onwards. Players have got to be part of that and take accountability for the season that's gone, but also know that they can make real change with the way we approach this season. We look at what happened last year, and obviously we don't want to take that into the new season, but them lessons can be valuable for the drive and the determination. I think as a bare minimum, as a club, as players coming back, you look at yourself, and every game you go out there, you've got to give your all for the team, you've got to give your all to the fans, and we have a responsibility to drive the revenue by wanting fans to come back every week, getting kids and parents out the seat, and if they want to come back every week, it means that we've done our job as players, and for me that's something that's been on my mind over the summer, and it starts when we go back to pre-season, and that internal drive will hopefully lead to that.
You mentioned the changes in the structure. What have you made to those?
fantastic. Obviously, it's quite a vogue in fashion at the minute in football. A lot of clubs have gone that way and been very successful. So I think you can only look at that model and say, how can it work for the club? And it's quite scary in terms of the change. You're looking at a football perspective and how will it change your club, but we were obviously in a position where we needed it, and the people that have been brought in, obviously I've known Cops for so long now, and I know about his strengths and definitely where he excels, and for me that's why it was most exciting, seeing the developments, because the one thing that can drive a club is culture, and I know when I come back on 16th of June, the culture will dramatically have changed, and with the manager and Steve, who has been signed up now, and it feels like a real positive push in the right direction, and I can only see a real steeliness and determination by all mentioned that they're going to try and work hard for pre-season to get the lads prepared well.
And you mentioned that culture, and as an experienced player, you'll be helping to set that as well. That must be an exciting prospect as well.
Yeah, and I think that's where I go back to taking ownership. We've got to be accountable for last season. Players have to take responsibility. It wasn't good enough by a long stretch, and for me, as speaking on behalf of the players, but as myself, I've come back into that this season, and if you've not got a point to prove, then you've probably not come back to the right club anymore. For me, I expect to look in every player's eyes and expect them to work harder, to fight more, and to go out there and try and really please the fans on every single game, and work hard every single training session. You come in to work, be professional, and make it a place where we can learn, we can improve, and we need to lift the place first and foremost. So how we do that is by working hard on the training pitch and delivering on a match day.
Your season ended a week or two early through injury. Where are you at now?
Yeah, so disappointed in the end, because it's frustrating when you don't get to play them last two games when you've played every other game, and you can see you want to be out there with the lads. But obviously an abductor strain that got progressively worse, kept me out of them games, and had to have surgery, which has gone really well, and my rehab has been fantastic, to be honest. Obviously in the off season you've got to wind down as well, so I've took my time, and now I've picked back up from sort of beginning of June, and I'll look to work with the physio coming back in now, and really confident with it. It's you look at the why it happened, and there wasn't a lack of give and try hard from the squad last year, and there was many other players that were playing on injuries and things like that, and you can see that light. We've got some honest players in the changing room that if they can stay fit this season, they can be real beneficial to the team, and some good quality that we need to look after. So hopefully that changing culture can drive that as well.
You spoke last year when you returned about this place being a home for you. Well, having a look, you're only a handful of games off this being the club that you've made the most appearances for. It really does feel like home for you. It
does. And I said that in length last year about my connections with my son and my family and how they feel comfortable here. But I mean, just coming down today, it kind of just opens another chapter for me, because obviously turned 34 in September, but last season I felt fresh, I felt driven, determined, and I really wanted to come back and prove a point. Going away and coming back, I sort of left. When I left, we had 3 really good seasons, and I really wanted to come back and prove a point. I think that's what led to, obviously, scoring a lot of goals and performing well in certain games. And although it was an upsetting season, there was still some real positive games that I loved, and that likes of the Sunderland away, and seeing the fans in them games where we won and performed well. Shrewsbury away from the 3-3 comeback, and their moments were few and far between this season, and it ended quite badly for the club. But hopefully, if we can use them as a platform in terms of why we want to go out there and get promotion this season, and it's for the fans, and it's to right the wrongs from last season and build something as a group, something new. I think that's something that I look forward to doing.
Yeah, and that connection that you've got with the club, it'll make it all the more sweet when you get things back on the right track.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, last season was obviously disappointing, but being at the awards do at the end with the supporters, it brought it all into perspective, because you see the people who have gone out there all season and supported you through a tough season, and and obviously reward me with the award. But I'm in a position where I can listen, I can hear their concerns for the first time, and it was quite humbling to hear how much more respect they had for us throughout the season, even in a disappointing time. And they're true supporters that are going to be there from the outset, and we as players now have to put it right for them, because they come to every game, and it's there for us to put right.